It's a special venue, to be honest, because a lot of Sheffield legends played here back in the day. Starting out, for example, Def Leppard, Arctic Monkeys.
Not many spaces either in Sheffield that are like this, where you can literally just put 500 hardcore kids in a room with no barrier. There is not many venue. Yeah, I don't think there's even one anymore. And it kind of, when I first walked in, it reminded me of going to like the original Outbreak festivals back in the day at Broomall Centre, which is just down the road. It gave me that kind of vibe. It's just like DIY. You can kind of just do what you want and just enjoy yourself, rather than, you have to like find a proper venue with a proper PA. You can just do it yourself here. And I think that was why it was so appealing to us. It's just like, it's kind of like back to the roots. Back to the roots. Absolutely. Yeah.
And that's for your new record that just came out, where Only the Truth Is Spoken. Yeah. You've been a band for well over 10 years, right?
Yeah, I joined in 2009, but these guys were playing shows before that.
Right. I mean, that's probably like well over half your lives playing in bands.
Oh, yeah. So Charlie and I started what is now Malevolence when we were 11, and I'm 32. So, yeah, like my entire life, it's pretty much all I know.
So 20 years.
Yeah, 20 years.
I love that.
Although we didn't probably take name on until maybe 06 or something like that. But we were playing pubs. We were playing metal, like not too far away from the sound that we play now. Way back then when we were 13, 14, even with like other fairly credible bands in Sheffield. Like there's a photo online you can find of the two of us outside a venue in Sheffield with While She Sleeps. I'm like 13. I've got dreadlocks.
I've seen that photo. It's like next to the A board.
Yeah, next to an A board. Yeah, and there's a listings that it says like whatever 99p Carlsberg, and then While She Sleeps Malevolence, which is mad because now we are all grown adults, still like us and While She Sleeps, still doing this doing this all the time. So it's very nice to look back upon.
The crazy thing is the same band names.
Yeah, it's
2006.
Names,
You know what that says to me is just dedication, man. Like that is perseverance.
It's a steady incline. You get a tiny little bit better every year. And it doesn't plateau.
Nothing happened overnight for us. Anyone can tell you that, really. We played hundreds of shows in Sheffield and everywhere. So we really, really persevered, and there was certainly highs and lows, and I'm sure there's still more to come.
It never stops. That's what you find out after a while. It never stops.
That's what you get from guitar music in general, sure, but especially hardcore and punk, is that when you go see a punk band or go see a hardcore band or love that record, it makes you want to do something yourself, whether that's play music or whether that's, I don't know, like draw a design or start making like clothing or whatever you're down with. Like hearing these stories is really powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, for example, with us in Sheffield, there was always those bands that are a few years older than us doing metal or metalcore, and just sort of laying the blueprint and showing for us that it was possible to actually go out there and be a band and give it a proper go, and like go and play in different cities and go abroad and do it.
We've got a shout out While She Sleeps for that, because they were always them boys that were a couple of years above us, doing it a little bit better every time. And I think for them, Bring Me the Horizon was probably that version for them, kind of paving the way a little bit. I don't know who's in front of them, like Def Leppard. Shout out them.
You got your own record label, MLVLTD. Tell us the story behind that, because I mean, starting a record label is no like minor thing, right?
I think we had the idea for quite a while, didn't we? Sort of like, I don't know, 10 years ago, whatever, and we always toyed around with the idea. And it was just a bunch of mates having fun, really, playing shows together. It was Malevolence and Desolated, which became Malevolated. And then we just took the vowels out, MLVLTD.
I think doing the label thing was mainly because nobody would sign us. We always wanted to be with one of the bigger metal labels. This is like in the mid-10s, so I think around our second album, Self Supremacy. Basically, we couldn't get a proper deal, and we were very hands-on and DIY. We're doing things independently. Like at the time, we were fulfilling our own merch. We're driving ourselves. We had absolutely zero crew members. We were very hands-on with absolutely everything. And we couldn't get a deal that we wanted, so we were like, screw it, let's just do it all ourselves. So the first one that we did entirely ourselves was the Other Side EP in 2020, which has the song Keep Your Distance on, which is still to this day like our most streamed song or single. So that's where the independent side of it came from. And it was not out of us trying to be like hardcore or DIY. It was just generally because we're Northerners and we don't like paying people.
Good on
That
you.
was generally, honestly, where it all came from is, we didn't want to pay a driver. We didn't want to pay a record label. So it was just like, all right, we're going to drive the van ourselves. We're going to sell the T-shirts ourselves. We're going to send the T-shirts ourselves out of his mum's living room. You know what I mean? That was generally where it came from at the time.
I mean, you're better off for it, because if that's one of your most streamed tracks, at least you're not having to split the royalties or anything because people who listen to bands now know more and more about how it works. Everyone knows that like streaming royalty rates and like sort of the split of that and how that impacts bands being able to survive and exist, right? But if it's under your own record label, then that gives you a better chance at getting a bit more of the cash than if you were on a record label giving them probably half the money or something.
Yeah, exactly. And it just shows you that it can be done. Like you don't actually need a big label to do all that, even though you might think you do. Yeah. But yeah.
Did it take you a long time to work out you can do that? I mean, since being in a band when you were 11.
Well, we've tried big labels since then, and you know, that's still our biggest song. So I guess that just proves the point.
It was definitely quite a difficult process, and we messed up loads of stuff and will probably continue to do so.
It's a big learning
curve. But
curve.
that being said, in hindsight, I look back at that record and we did release it independently and it was very successful. So really, it seems like it went pretty smooth. Since then, we've put out several more records and the machine has become slightly more well-oiled and we have like a slightly better grasp of the way things work. Yeah. However, with the way the industry is at the moment, every 5 years, like the whole landscape changes as to how music is consumed and how it is promoted. So you just have to keep your eye on the ball. You know, you know how social media works, the whatever ways people are engaging in these things. You got to stay on top of it. It's, you know, I think for us, every time we do a record, you know, you wait 3-4 years, the next one comes out, everything's changed. You know, everything's changed.
Especially at the moment.
Yeah. At the moment, it's like we're having to think about, right, how can we market these new songs that we just put out on TikTok?
Yeah,
that wasn't a thing when we did the last album.
We're men in our 30s, so we're like, what the hell?
Clinging on for dear life, trying to keep up with the kids.
Yeah.
But like you look at it on the last album, it was like what was popular then was like the really cinematic Instagram reels to promote your live shows and stuff like that. And now it's like, right, we want to. The popular things are like shot on an iPhone.
Yeah.
So it's just it proper does keep changing.
Keep your toes. Even with music videos, man, music videos are like kind of people are shifting towards like the shorter videos online instead of spending tons of money on like a 4 or 5 minute clip.
Yeah.
But
what's your attitude towards that stuff? I mean, I think as people into guitar music and into heavy music, you know, I think we've all got like a bit of a snob in us, right? We were like, nah, I'm not going to do that. I don't know how to do that. Fuck that.
Oh yeah, there's a bit of that in all of us at some point. To some point,
there is a bit of that. Like, I'm not going to lie, our management run our TikTok because I ain't got a clue what we're doing on there, and they're like, yeah, we'll just send us some clips and we'll slap them on there, and we'll kind of see what works. But I think in terms of marketing your music, I think it's just another avenue for yourself or your band to be creative in the same way that, like, say, writing your songs is or producing your merchandise. Mm-hmm. You know, if you just sort of change your perspective and think, okay, well, how do I want to do this? And let's see it as something that's like a fun task where we can express ourselves. Right. Then that's a good way to look at it. But yeah, I'm not going to lie, there's tons of shit that we don't want to do and we still do it anyway. To some degree, just because
that's real life.
We got bills to pay.
Yeah.
So big time.
But like on this album, I feel like, especially like the music videos, we took that approach of like wanting to have a bit more fun and just like and like we kind of like dipped our toes in every type of music video. You know, we did like the performance video, we did the one with the plot line, we did the scenic one. All the videos we did like were pretty fun to do. Like especially like if it's all the same to you video, that was like our most ambitious video that we've done, and that was just like a weekend of running around with like drift cars and actors that are like legendary actors in their own right. And just like with a proper film team, and like we've never done anything like that before, so it was fun.
He was in who was the guy, I forget his name,
Bricktop, Alan Ford.
And he was filmed, not Layer Cake, the other one.
He's
Snatch.
He's in a bunch of the Guy Ritchie films and Lock, Stock as well, so he's like the legendary stereotypical Cockney gangster
East London gangster, the OG.
That's such a funny video. And do you know what, maybe you haven't thought about it like this, but if you're a 12-year-old kid, 15-year-old kid somewhere around the world watching that video, it's fun to watch. You know, it's like an enjoyable, you know, you kind of live vicariously through you when you watch that video.
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly, that's how I felt being on the set. Like, it was like, oh, well, I'm going to sit across the table from Alan Ford that I've watched growing up. He's going to scream in my face, which I was genuinely shitting myself at. And then, oh, yeah, we're going to jump in the back of this drift car with this guy who's a professional, he's a world-class drifter. And he's like, yeah, watch this. We're going to go 80 miles an hour and I'm going to put the handbrake on. We're going to go horizontal. And we're in an RAF base somewhere. You know, it was honestly like a teenager's wet dream. And then, well, yeah, we're in that Freemasons building in London, and we're going to dress up and run and jump through laser. We're going to jump through laser beams and shit like that.
When we talk about all this stuff and all the work that goes into it, like a lot of that stuff is unpaid for many years, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, how do you think you've been able to do it?
Pure passion.
Yeah.
If you don't have that, you've fucked it.
Yeah, like absolutely blind ambition and perseverance and tunnel vision, I'd say, between all five of us, to be fair. And even when it didn't seem like it was even a possibility. For many years, you know, the bands that we were looking up to, they were not even making any money. I think very recently I did see Justice from TUI talking about this on your podcast very recently. Like, the landscape has changed where, like, bands in our world, there's a bit more cash moving around now, so people are living a bit better. But for many years that was not a thing.
I think generally as well, as we've grown older, we've just started making more sensible decisions. And as adults, just maybe we don't go to the all night party, and we get a hotel rather than sleeping on someone's floor. And I think when you're in your early 20s and you're like touring up and down the UK or Europe or whatever, it's exciting, it's fun. You can get free beers, there's no one to tell you what you can and can't do, so you can stay out all night if you want to. But like, you get to a certain age, you're like, actually, this isn't very healthy, and you know, a hotel isn't actually that expensive. I can just book a cheap hotel.
But especially, like, I mean, a hotel can be the price of like 7 beers or something like that. When you start comparing it like that, you're like, okay.
Yeah, so
what's more important? Especially at that age.
I think, though, we really did absolutely everything that we could to make it work. Like, if you look in hindsight about the way we used to operate on the road, like, we went to Czech Republic in a family car, right, with our gear stacked up on our knees.
Vauxhall
Zafira, 6 lads in the back, 12-day tour, one guy with us that's driving us, doing it as a mate, doing it as a favour. So that was like the level we were operating at, sharing all of our equipment, selling our t-shirts ourselves, no booking agent, probably getting like €100, €200, like, and that was what we were generally prepared to do to make it happen.
And then go back to the office on Monday morning, and just doing absolutely knackered, and just go back to being like doing like a normal job for a little bit, and then it's like Wilkie said, just like the things that we used to do just to like go and play a show. If you'd offered that us now, like, we have no chance. But but that's what you got to do. And I feel like maybe like there's a less of an element of that these days. I don't feel like that.
You don't see bands doing it as much.
You don't see bands doing it as much as you used to back in the day of like just doing anything to make ends meet, just so you can like all chip together and
get out there and do a gig. I mean, that was it for us. It was just about playing the show, wasn't it? We just wanted to play gigs. It wasn't even necessarily like, oh, this is the stepping stone for growth. We were like, fuck, we can play in a squat in the Czech Republic. No way. Let's get in a family car and drive there.
That's the coolest thing in the world to do with your mates. Like, anyone listening to this, it's like, if you're in that position, if you could start a band and literally use being in the band as an actual like vehicle in itself to go travel with your mates, that's the best holiday you'll ever go on as a teenager.
Honestly, that's all I've really ever wanted to do. My goals are still the same, and that's still what I enjoy the most, is like being able to travel and see all these amazing places that we're very lucky to go and see. That's nothing's changed over the past 12 years. That's still what we're trying to do. And
it's cheesy to say, but money can't buy you that. You know, you can be wealthy and you can go to Dubai, you can be on as many rooftop bars as you'd like, but
we get a bit of that in every now and again as well. Don't get me wrong. We do love a rooftop bar.
Love a rooftop bar. But I'd say even still now with like the offers that we get, it's like, okay, what's the money like? Is it going to be cool and fun? And
can we have a small holiday around this?
If we can build a holiday around it and it's going to be cool and fun, and then the money can sometimes be kind of secondary with a lot of the, especially like the more international stuff that we do. It's still, that's still a massive part of it really for us.
at one point, all of us worked at a venue in Sheffield. I was booking the shows. Wilkie, you were doing...
I was behind the bar.
Behind the bar. Charlie, you were in the office doing like admin stuff. Like at one point or another, all three of us worked at the same venue, and like we'd go away for a weekend and then like come into the office on Monday morning, and it'd just be a bit subdued, I guess, and because it's just like, back at my desk, back to reality.
It's like living a double life at that point, because there was times where like our band was like pretty cool in our little bubble at that given time, and we started getting on bigger festivals, and one time we played in Germany at a festival. We opened up, there was 5,000 people there, and then literally you drive in overnight home, next day you're there like pulling pints and someone's like spitting at you. Someone's chucking humbling at you, and you're just like, yep, I'm not a rock star. I
mean, I still have that. I had that last weekend. I worked security outside of the band sometimes, and I was at a festival, and I'm still like, nobody cares. It's nobody cares that you're who you are. You're just in the trenches, like pulling people out of kettles in a forest in Lincoln. But it keeps you humble, I think, and I feel like don't let you get a big head, because it's just like, no matter, you can play 20,000 people, but the next day you'll still be having to sign in and wait for a sandwich bag along with a load of other staff. So when we did Bloodstock Festival last year, every staff member in the barricade, I know, because I work with them, and so I was like, at least I know that these guys are going to do a good job, because I've been in that pit barricade working alongside them for years. So it's quite reassuring, and it's helpful as well, when it comes to like little things like the security briefs before the shows, just to like give you an idea of like how to talk to the security staff, tell them what you're going to be doing as an artist, what you're going to be saying on stage, and what they need, like what kind of staffing they'll need and stuff like that. I
never thought about that, especially at heavy shows where you might have a security crew who they haven't seen a hardcore show, or they haven't seen a place where people are going to be jumping off the stage all the time. That's got to be really important, actually, doesn't it?
It's absolutely essential. I wouldn't let a show really happen without one, otherwise it's like destined for disaster.
Well, without like a briefing.
I mean, I did one in here with the lads that work in this venue when we played, and I mean, all you generally have to say is like, look, they're not fighting. Like they're not fighting. Just leave them, and then if there really is a fight, like you can do your thing. But
it really starts getting like important as well when you're like doing the big rooms or the big festivals where you've actually got to think, like, because we are a band that I love seeing chaos. Like, I love seeing massive pits. That's what we've always encouraged from the very start, and what we'll always do. Like, I love it. I buzz off it, but you have got to be a bit conscious about, like, again, when you're in them bigger rooms, that you might be playing to people who it might be their first show. They don't know what to expect. They don't know what a circle pit is, or they don't know what a crowd surfer looks like. So it's nice to know that the people who are there to look after people are doing their job right, and know what to expect, and they're not just getting dumped in at the deep end, just like, holy shit, there's a fountain of people coming over this barricade, what do I do? And not drop them on their head.
You see it time and time again sometimes where they've not been briefed properly, and people are crowd surfing and they're not catching them, and then you have to get down and get stuck in. And you're like, where's the fucking security?
Has that happened to you? You've done that?
I've seen it
multiple times. This
year.
I mean, we do like 100 shows a year sometimes. So like, just the statistics alone, like, you're going to get people that don't know what they're doing, and people coming over and slapping their heads on the floor, sadly.
That's the last thing you want, like, from your show.
We want everyone to have a good time, and like not
leave injured.
I mean, there's like a good level of injured with like maybe a bloody nose, and you're smiling through it, but then there's like we don't want to see anyone actually get hurt. It's like the whole cliche of you want everybody to leave with a smile and like having had an amazing night. Do you know what I mean?
Sure. Do you know what I always think is funny is that I grew up going to like punk shows where there'd be like a ska band, like maybe an acoustic act, and then like a punk band, and then a hardcore band. And then maybe it's just what I'm seeing as I got a little bit older, but people love to be like, that's not metal, or that's not hardcore, or that's not punk. People love to kind of put it in these drawers. And this is just my opinion, but that feels fucking stupid.
I think
nowadays it's better though, innit? I think
it's better than it used to be, definitely. But like,
loads of it coming through, didn't we? Where we just didn't fit into any bracket really. We'd be like
too metal for hardcore, and then
and vice versa.
And then too hardcore for the metal guys, and we just didn't really. There was a time where we weren't really getting respect from either audiences, and we sort of had to build our own little community.
Because I mean, to me, it's like it's just heavy metal. Like you've got so many different subgenres, and like, I just think, what is the like? Yeah. Why? Who cares? Like, I don't have time to like argue with people on the internet about what genre a band is. I just think, you know, if it's heavy, you call yourself what you want to call yourself. Because like, who am I to say? Yeah. Who am I to say what is heavy metal? Who am I to say what is hardcore? You just do what you want to do. And just crack on and let it. Or just don't. Like, there's bigger battles to be fought. Do you know what I mean?
I think though there's nowadays you go to Download Fest or you listen to like any of the metal playlists on Spotify. You play it can be anything. Like the way the genre's shifted, or a new band will come out under the umbrella of metal or hardcore, and it can sound really any type of way. And people are generally far more accepting now than they were like 10 years ago or 15 years ago, where everything was very much pigeonholed into like it's even like the little subgenre, the little brackets within metal. It'd be like, oh, I'm into deathcore and I don't like death metal. You know what I mean? And really, you're talking about 1 degree of difference here in sounds. Yet there would be a massive difference in cultures between those little sections. But now, you know, everything's blended. You go to a show, there might be like a emo band, a death metal band, a hardcore band on the same bill, and everyone's just cracking on with it, which is much better.
It is much better. I think there's like still elements of like the metal community that still want to kind of keep hold of that gatekeeper element of it, and I think that could do with we're all in this for a laugh and we'll make heavy music no matter what the genre is. So just and it is better these days. I think there's like Wilkie was saying, when we were getting into it, we were getting judged a lot for wearing trackies, everybody it was like the talking point in like 2013. It's like, oh my, this band are wearing Nike joggers, I can't fucking support them. What the fuck
hate
is
on
this?
The videos,
hate on this, like fucking chavs,
puffer jackets and shit like that.
And but nowadays, because that was genuine us then, and we're still doing that now. Everyone's like, all right, fair enough. It wasn't a gimmick. That's just actually who they are. And I was like, all right. So you know,
people wearing the Stone Island now.
I think nowadays you can wear whatever you want. Like you go to Download in the backstage and you see the way people are dressed, and it's anything. But there was at one point where like people were much more stiff about.
It's like metal fans getting upset about us wearing tracksuits, but then they're going to listen to bands like Watain who have got actual animal skeletons on the stage. That's cool.
Well, that was the thing. We were watching rap videos. We were like, let's make a music video that looks like that.
And
that was really.
I like rap music, and like some of our friends in school like weren't metalheads at all. Like we had quite a few chavvy friends. So I guess like you see, and like I'd be like, oh, that Nike tracksuit's sick. I like that. But I had long hair, so I was like, can I wear that? But after a while, you're just like, fuck it. You wear what you want to wear, and it's like you make it your own identity, don't you? So
did you get beaten up much as a kid, being a grebo?
I had dreadlocks.
Not too bad. Took a few shiners though, definitely.
So I'd say like having dreadlocks at age 13 is like putting your teens on difficult mode. It's just like anywhere you go, someone's going to be like, white kid with dreadlocks who was like quite young looking and short, slap.
I had I had a girlfriend in year 7 and we both had long hair. And you know what story this is?
You don't say that more.
We both had long hair, and I used to get called a lesbian all the time. They're like, two girls kissing, and it was just me with long curly hair. But
that was definitely the era of like moshers versus like trousers, like that line in the subcultures, and like you couldn't listen to whatever 50 Cent if you listened to metal, or
I mean, but then did, didn't we?
Devonshire Green in Sheffield City Centre, that was my home every Saturday morning, 10 o'clock in the morning sharp. Hopefully there'd be a show at Corporation on the Saturday night. And that's why, like what I was saying earlier, like we love inciting that stuff, because that is like, I want to give kids that same feeling. When I came to my first show and I was just like, oh my god, this is fucking sick, but I might get hurt. And I come home and I'll have a black eye and my mum would be like, fuck's sake, Alex. But that but it's, you wear it like a badge of honour at school on Monday. It's like, I got smacked at Corporation on Saturday night. It was Architects played a sick song.
Looking towards like the future, I think people are realizing that independent music kind of needs like the artists to keep on making stuff, obviously, but like fans to get involved, like whether that's like economically, financially, like buying the records, buying the tickets to the gigs. But I think there's a lot of like fandom at the moment. Like a lot of people are just online. It's just the world the way the world is now. Like when you look towards the future and like maybe this is a bit of a lofty question, so feel free to tell me to fuck off, but it's like, what do you want to do? Like, is there something next that you're like, oh, wouldn't it be sick? In the same way that maybe, 10 years ago, it'd be like, oh, wouldn't it be amazing to go tour there? And then you do, what's the next thing that Malevolence wants to do in terms of like, wouldn't that be rad?
I think we've surpassed all the expectations we ever had, to be honest, because like we were in the charts the other day. We never set out to do anything like that.
Number one rock and metal charts.
Yeah,
that is
got
fucking
to
sick.
number it was like 32 or something.
32, yeah.
32 are like the real ones next to Ed Sheeran and all of those other people. Now,
bear in mind that top 5, that top 10, most of them are like old albums.
Yeah,
keep on
I mean,
reselling.
we started the week at number 7, and then we were getting moved out of the way by like Michael Jackson's Greatest Hits, which came out 20 years ago, which is, good for him, maybe. But it's just mad. Like, to me, it was just like, oh my god, these legendary artists are still selling that many records to this day. I'm like, hopefully one day we'll be competing with that. And I guess that kind of answers your question, to be on that status where people are still buying your music even after you're gone.
I think we ticked off a lot of our goals quite young. It was like, sell out, a club, a few thousand people, play with our favourite bands, make songs with our favourite bands, which we now have done, hang out with them, become personal friends with like the people that we literally grew up listening to, which we have done time and time again now. And then eventually make a legitimate, sustainable career from it, which, touch wood, we have been able to do. So
just more of the same. I think
continue to grow, and then I'm very, very grateful for the position we're in and the journey we've been able to have.
Yeah, 100%.
We're in Sheff, we're where you grew up. A lot of those part-time jobs, a lot of those odd side hustles that you're doing between tours, before you were being able to like make a sustainable band out of the situation, what were some of the shitest jobs that the three of you have done?
I was giving out flyers. The main problem was, it's like, as soon as you got a job, you just had to go on tour, and then you'd come back and it'd be gone.
Yeah.
That was the main thing. But yeah, I was giving out flyers, and they said you get £1 for every person you bring into the club. So I went to the back of the queue and just started bringing people in and made 180 quid. And that was my only shift, I think. Or maybe about 3 shifts.
So that's a great idea. You're an entrepreneur.
Yeah, that's the thing. We were just Del Boys like before our years, really. Like,
commission-based earning.
Yeah, there you go.
I think my worst one was I worked at the Sheffield Wednesday ground when I was pre-18, and at the time the strategy was that they only hired people that were under 18 because you could get away with paying like slightly less on the wage. So
like £1 less.
So they purposely hired like loads of 15, 16-year-olds, and we were carrying out the Sunday dinners or whatever, but we weren't allowed to take the orders. And it was absolutely horrendous. I'm probably one of the most clumsy people that you might meet, so I was just dropping gravy down women's frocks and whatever, and then getting a bollocking from the chefs and whoever was running the place. And I think that's probably the one that I look back on with the most disdain. But that's growing up and
character building.
Yeah, absolutely.
For me, honestly, I've not had that many bad jobs that I would like.
I thought of one. Used to be the milkman.
Oh yeah.
My first proper job. I mean, I was going to say that, to be fair. So my first job, I used to be a milkman and deliver milk up at around. Thanks, bro. Yeah. And I deliver it around the area around where we lived. But I guess that was savage because that was like, no matter what the weather, we were going out. We start at 11 o'clock at night and we finish at 7 in the morning.
Oh, damn. Oh, that's serious. Not like a 2-hour on a Sunday morning.
No. It was like, I mean, I did it like a few times a week. And it was, it was hard work. Like it sounds easy, but like getting up at that time and then working through like storms and stuff. But that was also like the guy that I worked with. Shout out Steve. Steve Tankard. He was an absolute legend, and
Tankard by nature.
Yeah, he happened to be like one of the best people I've ever worked with. And we just had a laugh. We'd have some proper good times, and like we'd come out of the we'd come out of the dairy, and after we'd finished everything off, and then we used to stop at this kebab shop on West Street at 5 o'clock in the morning and get breakfast. And it's the same kebab shop that all these lot would be in after they'd been at Co-op on a night out. So we'd drive up in the pickup truck, get our breakfast kebab, and then we'd give some of them a lift back up the hill, up to where we lived in the back of the pickup truck. Did we ever do that with you?
I think you did, yeah.
And these lot would be in the back, absolutely off their head. But
I love that.
Yeah, and you know what? That was one of the most fun jobs. But yeah, I've been quite lucky that I've never worked anything too shit.
It's about the people you work with, right? And I think if that's like a takeaway, do you know, I for a long time I went through so many different jobs where everyone I worked with was mean, or it was like office jobs that I didn't fit in. But then if you find something that pays just about all right, you can pay rent and people are sound, life's good.
Yeah. That's half the battle. If you can find a job where it doesn't feel like you're having to go to work and a slog every time, and you can go and have a laugh with your mates, then you're chilling.
Checking out the lyrics and the songs, I noticed at the bottom it said the songwriters were like all of you.
Yeah.
How does that work with publishing? Feel free if you don't want to talk about this. But
so everything's split.
Actually, all evenly split. Yeah. Now our guitarist Josh Baines, who isn't sat here now, definitely takes the lead on writing music, musically writing the songs. But everybody weighs in on the songwriting, and then also I'd say in other aspects of the band that are outside of the songwriting.
Yeah, there's everybody has their own little task, and we've always done it that way. So even when we first started having that discussion about how we split it, we've always just said 5 ways. That's just how it's always been, because everyone's an equal part in it. It's a team effort, everyone contributes in their own little way. So yeah, it's just
Yep, absolutely. And I think that's probably a reason that we've been able to do so much as a band, because there's quite a wide range of skills between the 5 of us, and we've been able to delegate quite effectively. There's members of the band that are very, very experienced in things that I know absolutely nothing about, and I'm just happy to sit back and let them handle XYZ. Our guitar player Con, he's a pro level guitar tech, for example, and he will just handle all of the equipment tech side of things and so on. But then there's other aspects of the band where he just won't touch, and
the socials and stuff and
all that kind of stuff.
And
so each of us takes on a role and takes responsibility for it, or certain set of roles. And I think it's really, really too much for a single man or a couple of people to handle, across the the spectrum being in a band.
It's got to be rewarding as well. You build your own world. You mentioned earlier, you didn't quite fit into metal, you didn't quite fit into hardcore, or the people going to the shows maybe didn't let you do that, and you had to build your own community. But I bet that's probably the very thing that's going to make Malevolence, or give you Malevolence, the life that you ultimately is like the primo plan. Building your own community, that's the strongest thing ever.
Absolutely. And I think that's what makes your fan base strong, and will stay there for a long time, because the sound that we've done and the way we looked, it's never really been like the cool or fashionable thing amongst the heavy music scene. So we've never been the in our eyes, we've never been like the hot new cool band. It's just been a gradual growth. And so it means that the people we have, there's still people come to our shows that have been coming for over 10 years.
When we were playing in West Street Live 12 years ago at my first show, some of the people that were there are still coming to Crookes when we play up here, and I think that community that we've built is still there, and but we have that community in different parts of the world now as well. It's expanded, we have friends all over the place, all over the globe that we're still buzzing to see every time, and
it keeps on growing. It's kind of an invitation. That feeling of discovering a band and then they're playing in your city, you go to see them, and then it's like an occasion.
And that's what we try and do that with everything we do. We try and make it, we're always thinking, how can we make this cool for the people who are coming to a show, whether we're doing a show or a pop-up shop, or rather than doing a clinical meet and greet, how can we make it an experience for the people that have supported us, rather than just your standard meet and greet type shit. We're trying to think of ways that it would be interesting to us.
Cheers for watching. This is 101 Part-Time Jobs. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, and all podcast apps. We've done interviews with Aurora, Kneecap, Idols, Lauren Maybury of Churches, and loads more. So tap into 101 Part-Time Jobs on Spotify, Apple, and all podcast apps. Welcome along to 101 Part-Time Jobs. Every single one of our episodes is available ad-free at our Patreon, patreon.com/101 Part-Time Jobs. I know that there are all these messages trying to sell you things that you may or may not want. So for £4 a month, that's around $5.50 US. You can get over 450 of our episodes and every single one in the future, featuring all the brilliant guests that we have week in, week out, completely ad-free. You can head to patreon.com/101 Part-Time Jobs, get all your episodes bother free, and you support us directly. Cheers.